Well, we have our fuel line run, and if I come around the back here, you can see how we used this gas conduit again with our fuel line running in through it, and then it comes down here, comes through the frame, and then it runs down and it comes into this piece of brake line which runs all the way to the front, and I don't know if I can show you underneath or not. Maybe you can see down in there where it goes down, goes through the frame, and then it will get hooked in down here, which I haven't finished that part of it yet. We'll finish that after we get the body on. Hold on to your hats. Well, hi guys and gals, it's me, George, the Shade Tree Fix-It Man, and my son Chad, and my grandson Noah. You gotta say it out loud so they can hear you. And we have the body on, although I gotta tell you it's on temporarily. We found a few things that we have to make adjustments on. The body needs to come forward about a ½ inch before we can bolt it down. And some other modifications so the throttle works properly. And I have some clearance issues with my gas line coil here. I guess I can take care of that just like that, squeeze the coil together more. But we have a few issues that have to be taken care of. But I thought you'd like to see how it's going to look when it's all done. Our goal is to get it together enough so that we can drive it this week. And I think I can do it. I haven't had a chance to work on the reverse lockout yet that I promised in the last video I did, but we will. I finished doing the plumbing for the gas tank, and one of the things we found out, excuse me Chad, is that the gas tank with its new mount, it now interferes with the roll bar. So I'm going to have to modify that setup and get it back a little bit, because right now it's right up against the roll bar. So that's not going to be copacetic. And the other thing is, I ordered a new taillight for it that is amazingly like my headlights with the louvers on it. And I'm planning on mounting the taillight, which will, the taillight brake light, right up here at the back of the roll bar. And if we have to use the triangle, we may hang the triangle down in here. We'll see. That's all speculation at this point. But yeah, it's looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. What do you think, Noah?
It's looking good.
Oh, you can tell he's really excited, can't you? Yeah.
You don't want to drive it this week?
I do.
You do? What?
I do want to drive it this week.
So we have a few things to do. I've got to finish wiring it, obviously. I have the wire for the taillights that we have up, and there, well, you can see them hanging just below Noah's left foot there. And I got to wire up the headlights yet, and everything has to be hooked into the dashboard and all, the ignition, the whole 9 yards. So we still got a ways to go, but if I can get my body clearance issues taken care of, and we can slide it forward, then we can bolt it down, and then I could hot wire it. I don't need lights to test drive it. We could get the seat bolted down, and I could quick hot wire the starter switch, and we could take it for a ride. We're running out of time for getting it going on the road because of possible snow. So I thought I would give you a close-up view of how it's going to look. We have lifted it back up in the air. It's not all the way up, but high enough so it's easier for me to get around. And one of the things I have to modify is right down in here. See that spud sticking out there? Well, that was added on after I had made the firewall, because originally this would not have had this idler sprocket down in here. Originally this was belt drive from here down to here, and there was no need for that idler sprocket. Now that we have change drive and we have our clutch up in there, then we needed that. So that is interfering there, so the body won't go down quite all the way. The other issue we have is that my gas pedal is hitting down in here so that I can't come all the way forward. And I don't know if I can get you down in there to see it or not. Yeah, see that? There's my throttle, and it's right against, and it's bending it in an awkward position. It's working, but I don't want to leave it like that, so I'm going to have to notch that out for that. And we'll have to, we may have to make a modification for the choke, but probably not. All I'm going to have to do with the choke is just loop it up around. This is what I used for test fitting, and this is the actual cable here. And you can see we have our coil of tubing, copper tubing for our fuel line, and it's hooked into the carburetor here. I have not finished fitting it, and I don't have it hooked up over here. And I already showed you the fuel line down underneath before we put the body on, but this just gives you an idea of how it looks when it's all together. Been a long time coming. When we had the body on last and I had this roll bar on, I had the different mounts, and I didn't even take into consideration when I made my new gas tank mount that it was going to push it in closer to the roll bar. So that's an issue. So now I'm going to have to make another modification and somehow get this to sit right up on top of here. So I'll be taking that part right off of there and making some modifications to it. But that's not an issue. We can fix it, you know what I'm saying? And our taillights tuck in there quite nicely. There's good clearance on either side, and I'm happy with that. And everything else is looking pretty copacetic, if I could say that. And our flame paint job is still holding up, and the looks to me like the pinstriping is still holding up pretty well after 3 tries. The first 2 didn't work. And of course we have our brakes are working. You see that? Yep. So we're pretty happy. So until next time, yeah, and this will be on here. I've got it's just sitting there at the moment. It'll get mounted permanently. So until next time, this is George, the Shade Tree Fix-It Man, saying...
And Noah.
Oh, and Noah, and his dad, Chad, saying thanks for watching, and I want to thank my son and grandson for coming over and helping me put the body on. Now they're going to have to help me take it back off again so I can make the modifications to the firewall. So, till next time, see ya. Bye now. Good night, Goofy. Sleep tight. We'll be back in the morning, hopefully.